Today's Dota video is made possible because of Raid. Now, before you go judging me, have you ever actually played the game? It's a turn-based fighting game with over 800 heroes, and you get $100 in rewards with the Game Leap link in the description if you sign up now. It's completely free, and it works on PC and all mobile devices. Go and click the link down below right now to claim your $100 in reward. It helps us keep going, and it's a fun and casual game. Sign up and give it a try now. Alright, so I have a question to ask you guys. Do you remember when Yatoro said Gyrocopter is like a bad carry because the hero can't solo carry the game? It loses man fights. Something along those lines. Obviously, I'm kind of paraphrasing, but do you guys remember that? The hero was really popular, and then it really fell off. The hero didn't become that much worse, but after he made those comments, because he is a very influential person, he said these comments about Gyro, the hero fell off. I guarantee there was a correlation. It was like so obvious to me after he said that, people stopped picking it in pubs. Everyone heard him, was like, oh, okay. Now it's back. And he just went 5-1 on the hero, had a fantastic match, and I'm sure you've been seeing Team Falcons pick it. This hero is back. Why is it back? Well, we're going to cover that in today's video. I have very strong opinions about why this hero is good. It is personally one of my favorite heroes by far. I play it off lane in my 11k MMR pubs. I think this hero is just a great Dota hero for a multitude of reasons. And so we're going to cover those reasons. Let's start in the draft. Not going to spend a lot of time, but I want to explain to you guys why this hero is so good from a drafting context and what it enables in drafts. So in this game, we have a very standard opener in the pro scene right now, which is the Shadow Demon into Centaur. Centaur counters the Shadow Demon in some ways. I personally don't think the Centaur is nearly as good as people think against Shadow Demon, because I think Shadow Demon's W is pretty good against Centaur, Disruption is good against Chain Stun, but okay, Team Spirit completely doubling down on countering Shadow Demon, killing the illusions, and then stampeding against Shadow Demon's ultimate to help people get away from Demonic Purge. We see a Brewmaster and a Hoodwink come out, and now at this point you have a couple of options in terms of your draft. You can pick a Sven for the Brewmaster, you can pick Morphling. However, the Sven, you're dealing with Shadow Demon. Shadow Demon purges Warcry through BKB, it's very problematic. Okay, something like Morphling. Well, Shadow Demon's gonna make copies. Very problematic. Hoodwink against Sven, it's a lot of magic damage, a lot of kiting. You know who doesn't give a about any of this? Gyrocopter. Why? Nothing is really dispellable. You can dispel Rocket Barrage. Who cares? Flat Cannon's not dispellable. You're a BKB buyer against Brewmaster, so you can deal with his ultimate. You're a good lane against Brewmaster, and you buy BKB against Hoodwink, and now you have Centaur to stampede you. So Gyrocopter fills a lot of holes in terms of drafting. He's just like a very solid hero because he buys an early BKB. So in games where you need an early BKB carry, he's great. And he's great when you have to pick 16, 17 here. You don't see your matchups. So okay, what are you going to pick as a carry when you, like, do you want to pick a Sven or a Morphling when you don't see the enemy carry? These heroes are pretty counterable. Gyrocopter is a semi-carry. And this is what people need to understand. You pick it here, not because you're looking to carry the game. Remember, Yatoro was like, oh, this hero loses man fights. Yes, it loses man fights. Sometimes, depends on how farmed it is in the matchups. But against something like a late game PA or a lifestealer, it will lose the man fight. But that's not why you pick it. You pick it because it will do a ton of damage and it makes drafting your other lanes easy. Because you know this guy is not going to grief his lane. This hero is one of the best laners in the game. You can pick any support with it because of how good of a laner it is. You can play the dumpster to lane with like a CM. You can play to do just fine and play for the mid game with a Shadow Demon. You can do that with Mirana. You can play to stomp with an Elder Titan. You have so many options, right? So the hero makes drafting very easy because it's very hard to counterpick. Teams will pick Lifestealer to counter you, but you're not even really trying to carry the game. And that's what people don't understand. Now, personally, for Team Spirit, I don't like Gyro as much as a hero, kind of, because they like picking stunner offlaners. I think the Falcons' approach with Gyro is a little bit better, because I think with Gyro, it's really nice to have Razor or a Doom, these hyper late game offlaners that are your real carry. You see where I'm going with that? Gyro's not the real carry, he's more of a lane dominator, which is why I like playing him offlane. I feel like the hero fits the model of an offlaner. It's more of a mid-game tempo hero that wins its lane and has the option to play fast if desired. It's not the best at pushing in waves safely though, that's something I'll say. Neither is Razor though, to be fair. Or Doom. And those heroes are offlaners. Let's finish off the draft. The biggest thing I like about Team Spirit's draft is the Lina that they pick here. It's good against the Razor, it's pretty decent against Brewmaster, can sort of kill Lifestealer. It's nice, and it's your hard carry. It's your real hard carry. It's the guy who's going to scale and do the majority of the man fighting, or like the high single target DPS. And so I love that. I think when you have Gyro, you want a Doom, you want a Lina, you want a Razor, some hero that's going to pick a target and destroy that target optimally the enemy hard carry because you don't kill them. Okay, now that I've gone up to my rant, let's get into the laning stage and some of the things I love about Gyro's laning. Number one is items are kind of weird. Usually you see 3 branches, blades of attack, or 3 branches and a wand. He does some whack build. This is some, yeah, I don't know. I guess he wanted both? Like damage and a stick? Whatever. Okay, couple things to note about Gyro. It allows your support to not have to block the large camp, because you're going to shove the wave anyway. You're going to click flat cannon, it's going to push the wave in, and then you don't have to have your support spend any sentries on the large camp because you're going to push the wave and use the large camp. So it saves your support gold, and it saves your support a ton of HP because they don't have to contest the large camp. On top of that, it makes it really easy for them to unblock the small camp because they don't have to actually use any sentries on the large camp. So you can see how beneficial it is to have a carry that pushes in the wave and then is happy to push in the wave because it can just do it again next wave. It's not like, oh, I accidentally pushed in the wave like a bot and now the wave is under their tier 1 and I'm gonna get run down. Nope. With Gyro, you're happy to do that because you're gonna flak it again. It's gonna do a ton of damage. They're probably already missing a bit of health from the first flak. And then you have Rocket Barrage if they run at you. So you can't actually really be run at least not easily. And so yeah, over and over and over again, the good players in Hymamar will hide from your flak cannon. People have gotten so used to this now that they hide in the trees. Oh, what is that last hitting? Ugh. But they will hide in the trees against flak cannon. So in Lomamar, they'll just get destroyed. Even in your average 11k pub that I play, people just eat the flak cannon and I win the lane literally because the support just eats 4 flak cannons every 25 seconds and then they just can't trade with my support. And that's what happens, right? Because you, like, it's so advantageous. Playing support with a gyro carry is like the easiest shit in the world because you don't have to block this. And then the enemy support you're trading with is just getting hit by random auto attacks. It's like your carry just randomly hits the guy for 200 damage. It's more like 150 after resistances, but you get the point. It's just like mad easy. It's mad easy. And so yeah, I like, anytime I want to play greedy support, I want a gyro in my lane. Like, I just know this guy's just gonna make my life easy. And so that's something to understand. Like, these are concepts that most players just don't understand. They're kind of advanced, like, honestly, like how heroes enable your support. And it's something that most carries just don't really care about, which is kind of sad. Dude, this guy's Yatoro's gotta work on his last hit a little bit. No cap. just a little. But yeah, he's done a really, really great job. Like, honestly, he's just pushing in the wave. And then something to note when you're doing this, guys, it's important to like aggro deny, because often the enemy is going to be forced away by the flak cannon. And then if you're really aggressive with your denying, you'll be able to sneak in a lot of denies. And so he's been doing that. He's 15-5. The Brewmaster's actually 16-6. And so they're not like dominating the lane by any means. Like, honestly, I think they probably could be doing a bit of a better job. I think he's probably clicking flak a little too much. I think sometimes like it's better at some point, like when you hit level 3, you can stop clicking flak and be a little bit more patient, like bait the enemy to walk up. And then when they walk up, then you click your flak so that it's hitting the enemy hoodwink, as he's sort of doing here. But yeah, as I said, the main thing is that it just enables this Elder Titan, even though ET Gyro is a good lane. It just enables this ET to sort of have a very free game. You know, he's not going to get pressured. Brewmaster's pretty good against ET because of the attack speed slow from the Q. It's like sort of hard to trade in the slows. But with Gyro, it's just whatever. Like you can see, they're chilling. And yeah, by basically spamming flak cannon over and over and over again, just like literally just clicking flak cannon, he has built himself a 600 gold lead. And that's Gyrocopter in a nutshell. No matter what you're against, you can just spam flak cannon, and if you don't mess up, you can basically get a gold lead. Like, it's so easy. I'm not getting, it's like unbelievably easy. This hero is very, very easy. The only thing is you have to be careful of getting your range creep denied, but sometimes you just don't care. Like, if you watch Skeeter Gyro, it's really funny. He'll just get the range creep denied like 3 waves in a row and just not care. It's like so funny that you can just do that and it's fine. So something that Yatoro does that's kind of weird is he buys phase boots. Like, he loves doing this. Obviously it's good for running people down with Rocket Barrage, but I don't know, like, the hero really likes having treads, like swapping in treads on the spell usage is very easy to do when farming, and that's super beneficial. Like, strength treads when getting gone on is really nice. The hero doesn't have major armor problems early on. It has pretty decent armor. So I don't know. Oh, the cooldown. Oh. Actually, this doesn't look that good. It looks kind of trash, if you ask me. Maybe? never mind. So yeah, I mean, something to keep in mind about Gyrocopter is that the hero enables these early fights, and that's something we just saw there. Like, I'm gonna quickly go back. Once you hit level 6 and you have your ulti, which he skipped, he actually took 2 points in flak over the point in ulti, which is good for farming. If you don't see yourself fighting for whatever reason, you can just take more points in flak or your Q to farm. That was a nice stun from Laurel, but yeah, essentially the ulti just covers a large area. It's a bit clunky, but it's a major slow. If it hits anyone, it's a 50% slow. It's a gale for 4 seconds. That shit is like a mega slow. And so, yeah, it's really good for just covering areas. And then of course you click Flat Cannon, you do a ton of damage in the early game because Flat Cannon. And then your Q does like a nuts amount of damage as well. So this is why you're a strong blind pick. And like in pubs, if you have to second phase a carry, let's say you're not last picking, Gyro is absolutely one of the best picks because you're going to help your team early on. You're not trying to 1v9 the game, as I've been mentioning. Oh, this bro is a vessel? I was going to say that has to be a no boots, no bracer. That's like some insane vessel timing. 9 minutes. I don't know how I feel about that, but okay. Yeah, so next up, he's going to buy Blades of Attack. He's got Spark of Courage. Generally, you want to take Seeds of Serenity if you get it. You guys know how I feel about Seeds. That item is just broken. It's just broken. It's just way too much health. And like, this hero has major sustain issues. So if you don't get like Royal Jelly is really good on this hero too, because you actually need the mana. So Royal Jelly or Seeds, I honestly think Jelly might be better because you super need mana. Like, you just have to buy Clarity Salve. Feels kind of shit, right? And that's the problem with Spark of Courage. It makes the flak feel really good, but you have to spend gold on regen. So I don't know. The flak 16 damage is so noticeable on Gyro though, because of the fact that your hero's attack speed is really high, like base attack speed. And Flat Cannon obviously hits like a ton of targets. So Spark of Courage is particularly good on Gyro, I will admit. Yeah, and from there, basically he just sits in his lane. Like, you just sit in your lane, you just try to farm your lane. Like, don't go farm ancients, guys. Just AFK, sit in your lane. If you think you're gonna get ganked, like, go take these 2 camps and just rinse, repeat. If the lane is hard, pull the small camp, farm these camps, take the wave under tower. You can drag these 2 camps together and flak them. Like, you can play like really safe, or you can just spam flak and be a threat because your ulti and your Q are just insane spells. Eventually, he's gonna farm up an Aghanim Scepter, and if you don't know what Ags on Gyro does, it does a couple things. Every 1.3 seconds, you shoot out a random auto attack in anyone in a 700 radius. And if you have Flat Cannon active, it's 2 units instead of 1 unit. So it basically means when you click Flat Cannon, you farm like an absolute psycho. Like, you farm ridiculously fast, as you can just see it wipes through the Ancient camp. And yeah, when you have Ags, you absolutely want to get to the Ancient side. I would say don't force Ancients too early. It's actually very hard to tank them early on. Wow, he has Gossamer's Cape. That's interesting. Super prioritizing movement speed, which I guess makes sense against like Razor and Lifestealer. This is like a theoretically terrible Gyro game. But that's what I mean. It's like an awful Gyro game, but who cares? He wins his lane, shows up to the early fight, is self-sustainable in his lane, farms like a madman, and then eventually you just get a BKB. And it's like, okay, well, at least he's this like very useful hero for 6 seconds, 8 seconds, 7 seconds, whatever it is, right? Now, a couple things to note about his build is that, first of all, in terms of talents, at level 10, you take health. At level 15, you take Flat Cannon damage. At level 20, you take Flat Cannon attacks. At level 25, generally you take Flat Cannon cooldown. However, the other 25 talents are really interesting. Also, the other 20 talent, Rocket Barrage damage, is personally one of my favorite talents in the game. It's the talent you take on support because it makes the shard really OP. And what I like doing, I mean, I'm an offlane player, but what I like doing, even if I play this hero carry, I like the 14 Rocket Barrage damage because it's more than a 50% increase on the damage, and then you buy the shard, and you can just kill the support by simply using Rocket Barrage on them. And it's a ton of damage on the frontliners as well. It's really good at forcing early BKBs. So it's something to keep in mind, only because you already have 7 Flat Cannon attacks. Going to 10, it is good when you're sieging, but like, I don't know. I personally like both talents. Okay, so in terms of his items, pretty standard outside of the MKB. The MKB is because he's against Radiance, and he's against Brewmaster Wind Panda. I was gonna say maybe Razor will eventually get Butterfly, but that's not for a long time. And so it's a great game to have an MKB against Lifestealer. Even though he's raged, it just gives you that Evasion Pierce. And then, of course, against Brewmaster. It's really good against Brewmaster to have MKB. So that's something to keep in mind. However, it does make you kind of squishy, but I do like it. Eventually, you're going to get your Satanic. You're going to have Daedalus, MKB, Satanic, BKB, and that is a great 6-slot inventory with, of course, Phase Boots. So yeah, I'm going to go aggro on here, and this sometimes is the weakness of Gyro. I mean, the nice thing is that Flat Cannon is really good at poking the enemy if they execute poorly, right? Because you click it, and then if the supports show up, they can't tank 10 auto attacks. And people will mess up and tank 10 Flat Cannon auto attacks in Low Malar. And so you can just kind of like decimate the buildings. It's like, it's pretty insane what you can do. to heroes. Like in terms of DPS, this hero does insane DPS if it doesn't get the respect it deserves. And you'll see at this point, this is where the hero really begins to thrive. You hit this nasty timing where you're just unbelievably farmed because he's taken, I mean, he has 500 last hits. 500. Insane what Gyrocopter can do. And then, yeah, like, you can just kill people. Oh, the ET Spirit with the Lena nukes is unbelievable. It's so much damage. But yeah, okay, he gets disarmed. He kites in the lifesteal, that's pretty funny. Gets disarmed. You have to buy Satanic on this hero, right? Like, it's so important to be able to heal, otherwise you just get poked out way too easily. And yeah, he's trying to siege here, and with the Aghanim scepter, it kind of gets the job done, even if you're like sort of not auto-attacking too much. If you are auto-attacking a lot, wow, he's really getting, this lifestealer is super cutting him. Oh, can he get the cheese off? Yeah, he's fine. He didn't even need the cheese, he can just Satanic. Yep. And yeah, I mean, you really do rip buildings to shreds. Like, this hero is, if it gets left alone, one of the best siegers in the game. And then from there, usually people do what he's kind of doing here, which is buying Butterfly. Usually you don't have MKB, you have Butterfly, because it allows you to man up to the heroes that otherwise kind of shred you, like the Lifestealers and the Razors. The Butterfly is a great way to give yourself that ability to fight them back. Even though you'll never be great at it, like, the reality is none of your abilities are good man fight abilities late game, which is why the hero needs a ton of net worth. It can do that. It has two of the best farming abilities in the game in Rocket Barrage and Flat Cannon. But yeah, just because it lacks any sort of man-up ability, where Lifestealer has 4 potential man-up abilities, you have 0. So of course you're going to lose the mana. But yeah, team fight breaks out, and if you, once again, if you get ignored, like, the Flat Cannon will just go to work. In this team fight, I mean, he's ripping them to shreds. The DPS of Gyro, if he's able to just hit, is nasty, absolutely nasty. Even on a single target, he's just bad at manning up. Like, if the enemy also has a Satanic, you'll tend to lose, but if they get stunned, you rip people to shreds. It's not like you have no single target damage. It's just hard to man up. Hopefully that makes sense. But okay, that's gonna be all for today's video. Hopefully you guys really understand Gyro better now. I really do believe that this hero is really great, like, really, really great. I think people just kind of fall off late game and they're like, nah, I'd rather play Phantom Assassin. It's like, sure, but Phantom Assassin doesn't enable every single lane. It's not good at fighting early, and it doesn't flash farm without an item. Like, Gyro is just, it's just such a strong staple draft hero, you know what I mean? So, and that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, go and click the link down below right now to claim your $100 in reward. Sign up and give it a try now.